Simon, when it comes down to it, we know that Potter and Chelsea haven't had it all their own way here, nor have Liverpool under Klopp. So should a successful European run like this, is that an acceptable caveat to a poor domestic one?
And not really, because it won't get them qualification for the Champions League next year. So whilst it gives them a degree of don't look over here, look over there mentality, it doesn't help them in the bigger picture of the arguments that will ascend or descend around Graham Potter and his achievements at Chelsea. I think there's a lot to be said notwithstanding that, I think there's a lot to be said for him to have a decent campaign in Europe as a get-out-of-jail card for some of the travails he's got in the Premier League. Not much of one, because whilst we've got this argument and debate about who's buying these players, how many players they've bought and what they've actually bought, there's still an underlying scenario that Chelsea should be doing better and should be doing, and I think they will. I think we're starting to see a little bit more improvement. I think we're starting to see some personality from Graham Potter, where he's been forced into slightly confrontational situations, not being confrontational in them, but being assertive about his position in the world and where he thinks he should be and what he should think. And I think these are good things for him to gain his head in certain aspects of managing Chelsea. But I do think getting knocked out, if they go out against Dortmund, I do think that's another...
That'd be huge pressure. They shouldn't be going out.
They shouldn't be, but
he could have a death by 1,000 cuts if he starts losing to Dortmund and getting knocked out in this leg. It could start that process of a death by 1,000 cuts.
If they go out to Dortmund, it would start.
Yeah. I think it could start the process in earnest of a death by 1,000 cuts.
I don't think they will, though.
No, neither do I.
Although Dortmund have got some super talent.
They're decent, Danny. They're not world beaters, but they're decent, aren't they?
Dangerous, yeah. Obviously,
Bellingham,
Fernandes will be an interesting battle, won't it?
Yeah.
Both young lads, both super talents. I know got some criticism for saying he's not worth 100 million. I don't think many people in the world are worth 100 million. Stand by that, but he's still a really good talent, a good player. That'll be an interesting battle. I think the first half hour against West Ham, I watched that game, did that game. They were really good. Felix looks... he's a beautiful player to watch. He's really, really talented. I think Chelsea's problem's goals. You know, they haven't got somebody they can rely on to get them goals.
What about your Liverpool? Is it an acceptable caveat for Klopp to have a successful European run? Well, it's not all going the way they envisaged back here.
I think Klopp's got enough in the bank that if this season was to become fruitless in every area, fans was still got the back. He's got the full backing of the fans, and obviously they'll need to spend in the summer, and he'll have another go at it. I think Potter's need is greater for to stay in this. I mean, don't get me wrong, huge disappointment for Liverpool if they go out to Madrid, but I still think Potter needs it more than Klopp, 100%.
Yeah. I would think both will get through. I agree with you.
You fancy Liverpool against Madrid over 2 legs?
I think Liverpool have got
to
do it.
I think they've got a chance.
I think they can. I don't think for 1 second that Liverpool are not up to a challenge of Real Madrid.
Well, I'm more confident because I've seen Madrid just before they went to the World Cup Championship struggling a bit for form. But Madrid playing well would be a handful. Let's not beat around the bush. Liverpool and struggling desperately for form. Yeah. I mean, Everton were rubbish the other night. They didn't reflect. Can't really judge it, can we?
Can't judge it by that. So I would suggest that Madrid is a very tough task, and we all know that Madrid find a way to win games. They found a way to get past several teams last year and going on to win the tournament. Everyone goes, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah.
So I really would put Liverpool in a jeopardy basket there, and that's their only saving grace this season. Chelsea, well, again, Todd Bowley and his like. The problem is we are judging Chelsea by what we know to be the standards that Roman Abramovich had for 20 years, which is even if you're successful, you're out. There's a perception, and I believe it's a correct perception, that there's a support mechanism in place for Graham Potter that might supersede just the inability to get instantaneous gratification. Now, going out in the 16s of the Champions League against Dortmund, to me, starts a process, if Chelsea were to, where he starts to undermine that belief that Todd Bowley, that benefit of a doubt that Todd Bowley will want to give him his head, to give him his legs, to maybe give him past the conventional wisdom of you ain't achieving at Chelsea, you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I kind of concur with Danny's point of view that probably the need is slightly greater because the currency that Jurgen Klopp has earned. But don't be under any illusion that Jurgen Klopp shouldn't be under pressure. If he doesn't regenerate this Liverpool side next year, which is part of his remit...
But he'll get to that no matter what, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He'll get that opportunity no matter what.
Yeah. Here you go, Mr. Simon Jordan. You've got the opportunity now to wish one Scott Parker well tonight, who makes his Champions League debut as manager of Club Brugge against Benfica.
I do. I wish him well. I hope he's learnt his lessons.
So do I.
He's done well out of it. He's in the Champions League tonight.
I'm so happy he said Club Bruges rather than Club Brugge.
I hope...
I'm more Bruges than Brugge.
I know, why do people change it?
No one is beyond redemption, are they? Everyone makes mistakes, for crying out loud. God knows how many I've made. So because I've made judgments on him in past doesn't mean I don't want him to do well in the future and to deliver his potential. He's a decent lad, a decent footballer.
Yeah.
Because he spoke out of turn and did things in a silly fashion, the biggest consequence of that was him losing his job and his reputation and having to go to Bruges to manage, because that isn't going to be, let me think, I watched In Bruges with Colin Farrell and I think I'll go to that city. No, you've gone there because there's not a lot of opportunities around, and you go build your reputation and prove to people that actually you aren't an irresponsible football club manager that when he doesn't get what he wants throws his toys out of the pram.
Exactly.
Come back with a different reputation.
And actually,
Bruges.
Jim is beyond redemption.
Jim is, yeah. Oh,
Thank you very much, Danny.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.